crafting family. As Easter approaches, it's time to embrace the spirit of renewal and creativity. Today, we're hopping into a world of DIY wonders with a basket full of Easter crafts that will add a sprinkle of joy to your holiday celebration. Hi, my name is Katie from Lady Red Crafting, and let's get started. So I found this beautiful napkin at Home Goods last week, and I'm taking some wood ornaments from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to put them together to make a beautiful Easter treat. So let's get started. Using some Waverly chalk paint in the color white, we're going to give a nice coat of paint to our little carrot here. And once that paint has completely dried, I grab some Mod Podge, and we're just going to give another coat of Mod Podge over the top of the paint. And now that our Mod Podge is completely dried, I grab that napkin from Home Goods, and I'm going to go ahead and remove the back two layers of the napkin. And I use a piece of painter's tape to assist me, especially with that second layer. It does take a little bit of work to get that off of our napkin. And the napkin is almost translucent once you've done doing that. But you can totally see the pattern once you put that over the top of our white paint. Now let's grab a piece of parchment paper and lay that over the top of the napkin. I'm using a heat press, but you can use a hot iron as well. I've used those in the past. And you just go ahead and you iron on the napkin. So I'm going to trim the remainder of the napkin off of this little carrot, and I'll save that napkin to use on my little bunnies. Next, I grab a zip sander, or you could just grab a sanding block, and I sand around the edges of our little carrot. Now go ahead and grab some Mod Podge, and we're going to paint that over the top of the napkin to seal everything in. And now that we have the carrot done, we're going to go ahead and repeat this step for our little bunnies. Now I started out with the bunnies facing the same direction, and I realized halfway through the craft that I wanted the bunnies to be looking at each other. So I ended up having to make a third bunny to make sure I had ones that were looking the opposite direction and looking at could look at each other. So while our bunnies and carrots are drying, let's go ahead and make some embellishments. I'm starting out here with some white yarn from the Dollar Tree and using the little pom-pom maker. This one came in a 2-pack, and this is the smaller pom-pom maker that came with the 2-pack. I go ahead and I start wrapping my yarn around that little pink flap that comes out. And you just wrap that all the way around until you're satisfied with the thickness. And then I go ahead and I cut the piece of yarn and then repeat the same step on the other side of the pom-pom maker. Once you have both of your little wraps done on your little pink arms, we'll go ahead and we'll fold this in together to make a circle. And for the next step here, you really want a pair of sharp pointy scissors. And I take those scissors and I'm just going to insert that into the little groove that's in that pink flap. And you just cut the string as you go along. And make sure you're holding this tight because right now you haven't tied anything together yet. Then I take a small piece of the yarn, about 5 inches, and we're going to go ahead and just insert that in the groove all the way around and then tie a knot. I tied it 3 times because I really wanted to make sure that stayed tight. And once you've done that, you go ahead and just remove the little pom-pom maker. It kind of comes apart, but you just put it back together. It snaps back in place. And then I take those same sharp scissors and we just give a little haircut on our pom-pom until we're happy with how it looks. If you've watched my videos in the past, I used to use an iron when I did my decoupage. And this Christmas, I splurged and bought a little heat press on Amazon. And I was pleasantly surprised when I got it that the plug on it was the exact same plug that I have on my glue gun. And this worked out amazing since I am very short on plugs in my office. And I was able to just switch back and forth between the two tools. So if you're interested, I'll put links in the bottom of my description box. And let's get back to crafting. Now let's add some embellishments to our bunnies and our carrots. For the carrot, I'm just going to do a jute twine bow, and we're just going to glue that onto the top. Once we've done that, I'm taking my little hot gun, and we're going to add the little pom-poms to our bunnies. To attach these bunnies, instead of hot gluing them to our surface, I'm going to use some magnets.
And these magnets I got last year from Amazon.
I like them because they're really flat, and I've used them in the past because they're the perfect size for Scrabble tiles. So these were left over from a craft that I had used for that. I like the thickness. They're really, really thin. So this makes it look like you've glued them onto something, but you haven't. What to magnet these cute ornaments on? Well, I found these adorable signs at Dollar Tree, and all I needed to do was flip them over. Yep, that's it. And these magnet right onto these little signs. And this is a cute little trio set that we can use for Easter. Or what I was thinking is we could make more of these fun ornaments, and we could magnet them onto this cute little sign for different seasons. We could do shamrocks, we could do flowers, we could do Christmas ornaments. We could do whatever we like, and we could just flip these around all year round. So do you like using pieces from more than one season in your decor? Let me know in the comments below. So this is a fun, easy craft that you can do while watching TV or hanging out with the kids. All you need is some twine and 5 different size wood beads that kind of go from bigger to smaller. And the first thing I'm going to do with these beads is I'm going to put them in a plastic freezer bag. And I like the freezer bags because they're a little bit thicker, and with pouring some paint and water in there, I don't want any leaks. And then we just seal the bag, and we're just going to mush around these beads. And this is just going to lightly color our beads, and there will be a nice light off-white color. Now, once we're done coloring our beads, I'm going to put on some gloves and just carefully remove the beads, and I'm just placing them on a paper towel to dry. And once those beads have dried, I grabbed some gray colored twine, and I got this twine from the Dollar Tree. They get it from time to time in their Crafter Square section. Now the fun part, we're going to arrange the beads in a little line going from largest to smallest, and this is going to be how we're going to set up our cute little carrots. And oh my gosh, these are just so adorable. You guys are gonna love them. So I'm just going to string these from smallest to largest onto my twine. And I started out by just stringing the whole entire set of beads, but you could string them up individually if you liked. I just found it was easier to just do a big long stretch for me. And once I got that done, I just separated them out into little carrot pieces. So I wanted to take a moment to talk a little bit about a playlist I'm a part of this month. And I've been a part of this playlist for about 6 months now. It's called Recreation Inspiration. And basically what this is all about is recreating different crafts from other creators. And the creator that inspired me for this video was Whiskey and Wit, and I'll put a link in my description box below to the video that inspired me. To say a special thank you to the host of 6 Kids and a Glue Gun, Rustic and Lace DIYs, and Crafty Art Shack. Thank you for hosting this wonderful playlist. A link to them and the playlist is in my description box as well. So please check them out and give them some love. Thank you. Now back to these adorable little carrots. Once we got our little beads all strung up into little carrot pieces, I'm going to take a little bit more of my twine, and I used 5 pieces of twine, and I'm going to just tie them around the knot that I tied at the top of this little carrot. And we're just going to continue doing that till all the strings are attached. To unravel those strings, so all I'm doing here is I'm taking a basic comb, and I'm just going to comb all the way through those pieces of twine until it looks like a little carrot top. If needed, just go ahead and give your carrot a little haircut on top. And once that is complete, I'm going to take some black and white ribbon, and I'm just going to add a little bow to the top of our carrots. These simple little carrots are ready to display. What color would you make your carrots? Let me know in the comments below. I get a lot of comments from you guys about my decoupage, and so for this little craft here, I am going to decoupage a pickle jar. And what we're going to do is we're going to start out by taking some white Waverly chalk paint and paint a nice coat of paint around the whole entire jar. While the jar is drying, I'm going to grab some Waverly chalk paint in the color Elephant, and I'm going to take that paint and paint the lid of the jar. While we have that elephant color paint out, I'm going to grab this cute little styrofoam bunny rabbit that I got from the Dollar Tree last year, and I'm just putting that onto a skewer, and we're going to paint the bunny rabbit the same color. What I love about putting this on a skewer is I can just stick that skewer into a cup and it can just be set aside to dry. On to the decoupage. This napkin is from Home Goods, and we're just removing the back 2 layers. Once we have done that, we're going to prep our jar. To prep our jar, I'm going to place it on top of an egg carton. And what I'm doing by doing that is it's giving me an extra set of hands. Next, I grabbed my Mod Podge, and I did not get this on camera, but I painted a coat of the Mod Podge over the top of the paint on the areas that you can see when you're looking down at the egg carton. I'm going to use cling wrap for this next step as well. So we're going to take our napkin and layer that right on top of that Mod Podge. For your next layer, you're going to use some cling wrap over the top of the napkin. Then you're going to take your hands and just smooth the cling wrap around the jar. And this will take a minute, but once you're done, we'll peel that cling wrap away and the Mod Podge will just be set there to dry for about a half an hour. So a half an hour went by, and I wanted to make sure everything was really dry before I flipped this jar over. So I did use my heat tool just to ensure that everything was nice and dry. And once we have our jar flipped over on the egg carton, I'm going to just make sure that everything fits fine with the napkin, which it does. And now I will grab my Mod Podge, and I'm going to paint a nice coat of Mod Podge over the top of all of that white paint. And very carefully, we're going to pull up the napkin and cover the whole entire jar. Next, you guessed it, we're going to grab that cling wrap again, and we're going to place a layer of that cling wrap over the top and smooth out that napkin over the Mod Podge on the jar. Once everything is dry, I'm going to go ahead and take some scissors and cut any of the extra napkin off of our jar. To seal this jar, we're going to use another layer of Mod Podge. So you'll see me here just painting a coat of Mod Podge around the whole entire jar. Now let's put this jar together. I'm going to take my cute little bunny and hot glue that to the lid. Let's add the lid to our jar, and our piece is complete. This is a perfect little jar to stash some change into, use as a decor piece. I've been using it as a decor piece with some wrapped candy inside. Up next, I'm going to show you how to take these little carrots and make a cute little carrot patch. So I'm taking these carrots that I got at the Dollar Tree, and I'm putting a few of them on a paintable surface. I'm taking some Waverly chalk paint in the color Plaster, and we're taking a big round brush and just going to dry brush these carrots to give them a little bit more of a muted look. After done painting these carrots, I remove the little pieces of stem from these carrots. Next, I grabbed this fun boxwood that I got at Walmart, and I absolutely love this boxwood. And I'm going to dry brush some little pieces of boxwood as well. And what is great about these little carrots is there's going to be like a little hole left over where the old stems were once at. And all you have to do is take a little bit of hot glue, and you can just add those boxwoods to the top, and it elevates these carrots to a whole new look. I don't know if you're like me, but sometimes I walk by something at the Dollar Tree and I'm like, what could I do with that? I really think that piece is so cute. And this is one of those pieces that I kept walking by, and I put it down like 3 times, and I finally am like, no, I'm going to buy this, and I'm going to take this home, and we're going to find a way to incorporate this into a craft. So I started out by just painting the whole entire thing using the color Elephant by Waverly chalk paint. So for this next step here, I'm using a self-adhesive stencil, and I had gotten the stencil back in the fall from Amazon, and I'll put a link of it in my description box below for you guys. Using some redesigned chalk paste in the color Vintage Lace, and we'll just squeegee that over the top of our stencil. And once we've gotten that squeegeed over the top, I'm just going to peel that away. After our paint has dried from the stencil, I grab my Waverly chalk paint in the color Plaster again, and using a dry brush, I'm going to dry brush over the top of the roof. And now it's time to plant our patch and add those carrots right back in. Doesn't this little patch look so perfect? I love how this turned out. Thank you for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button below. And for more crafting fun, check out this video. Until next time, craft more, stress less.